Have you ever felt like life placed something in front of you that was far too big, too heavy, too impossible to overcome? As if the world had shifted overnight and you were left alone to face something you never asked for, never expected, never felt ready to carry? Sometimes all we see ahead is a barrier, but in the silence, a thought is born, unseen, tiny, fragile. And that thought can change everything. This is where our story begins. Far away from green forests and shining cities, there existed a valley forgotten by time. They called it Dark Valley, not because of a curse, but because the sun touched its stones for only a few minutes at dawn and a final breath of light at dusk. At the heart of the valley lived Ayren, a quiet 19-year-old boy. Slim, reserved, with deep eyes, as if he carried more questions than answers. He lived with his mother in a small stone hut, the only family he had left. His father had vanished years before, swallowed by the mountains in a storm the wind had carried without warning. In Dark Valley, everyone feared the mountains. They were ancient as bones that still remembered old pain. Everyone knew, when the mountains speak, you do not argue. Ayren grew up hearing that, but he also grew up with something else. A restless, wordless tug in his chest every time he looked toward the frozen, unreachable peak. Something up there felt like it was calling him, not with sound, but with soul. One late night, when even the moon seemed too tired to shine, Dark Valley trembled. First, a whisper in the ground, then a growl in the trees, and finally, a roar so deep it made the stones hum like a plucked string. Ayren woke with his heart racing. He ran outside and saw the impossible. A massive boulder, the size of a house, had rolled down the mountain and now blocked the only passage connecting the valley to the rest of the world. It wasn't just a rock. It was a decree. Dark Valley was trapped. At dawn, the villagers gathered, strong men, weathered women, trembling elders. All stared at the stone with the same expression, fear wrapped in resignation. No one can move this. The valley leader sighed. We must accept it. And so, as always, the valley accepted. Except for one person. Ayren stood there longer than anyone while the cold wind tangled his dark hair, and a deep silence filled his mind. Something was being born inside him. A question, a seed, a whisper. What if? But he pushed the thought away. No one in Dark Valley challenged the mountains. No one. In the following days, the villagers tried digging around the boulder, but the ground was iron hard. They tried pushing it with logs, but nothing budged. Eventually, they settled into acceptance. That, at least, came easy. But Ayren couldn't sleep. The image of that enormous boulder haunted him, filling his mind like a silent animal. On the third night, he walked there alone. The moon hung low, curious. Ayren touched the stone. It was cold, frozen, unmoved. And then, the full question rose inside him. What if I can move it? He stepped back, startled. A ridiculous idea. Absurd. Out of touch with reality. But the thought returned, and returned, and returned, until ignoring it became impossible. Ayren woke before sunrise, went to the narrow passage, placed both hands on the boulder, and pushed. Nothing. He pushed again. Nothing. He pushed with his entire body. Still nothing. His muscles burned. His chest ached. His breath broke. But something changed inside him. Something new. Dark Valley had always taught that trying was a waste of time. That the mountain never yielded. That fighting the impossible was madness. But that morning, Ayren realized something simple. Even without moving the stone, he had moved. And that was a beginning. When Ayren told the villagers what he was doing, the whole valley laughed. You're just a boy. 100 men couldn't move that. This boulder is fate. Accept it. Ayren lowered his head, but something inside him refused to die. He returned that night, and the next, and the next. He pushed until his hands bled, but he didn't stop. Because each failed attempt carried a tiny shift, not in the stone, but in him. He was growing stronger, lighter, more whole. The boulder stayed the same. Ayren did not. One night, Ayren felt he wasn't alone. Not footsteps, not breathing, just a presence behind him. He turned, startled. A man, or what looked like one, stood under the moonlight. Ragged clothes, long silver hair, eyes as deep as the valley itself. "What are you doing, boy?" "Trying to move the boulder." A soft laugh. Not mocking, recognizing. "Alone?" "Yes." "Why?" Ayren hesitated, and then, "Because I believe I can." The stranger nodded slowly. "Then you've already begun moving it," and vanished into the darkness. Ayren never knew if he was spirit, traveler, or an echo of the mountain itself. But those words took root. Persistence always asks a price. One cloudy morning, Ayren pushed so hard something snapped in his shoulder. The pain dropped him to the earth. He lay there, fingers buried in the dirt, tasting defeat. For the first time in weeks, he cried. The boulder looked even bigger, even more arrogant, mocking him with its silence. "Maybe I am too small," he whispered. But then another thought appeared, soft, trembling, but alive. "I'm hurt, but not done." Ayren stayed there for hours, staring at the narrow patch of sky and feeling something new fill his chest. Pain didn't need to be the end. It could be the passage. A violent storm tore through the valley. Rivers rose, winds howled. Water swept down the mountains like a living beast. Ayren was thrown into the flood, slammed against rocks, caught in roots. When he escaped, he was bruised, soaked, shaking. He crawled to the boulder. It still stood there, massive, unmoved, unbothered. For the first time, Ayren felt the weight of giving up. Maybe I'll never be enough. The wind said nothing, just roared. Ayren closed his eyes. And then it came, the tiniest thought. I'm still here. That small truth kept him alive through that night. When morning arrived, Ayren approached the boulder with a quiet calm. He placed his palm against the stone. A sound, soft, thin, almost imaginary. A faint click. The boulder had shifted. Not much. Maybe a millimeter. But it was enough. That millimeter meant the impossible was no longer unchangeable. Ayren fell to his knees and wept. Not from pain, but gratitude. In the following weeks, the villagers noticed something surprising. Ayren had changed. His once fragile body was now steady. His eyes, once dim, now carried fire. His posture, once slouched, now stood proud. The boulder, still huge. But Ayren was no longer the same boy. Children stopped to watch him. Women whispered. The elders shook their heads in disbelief. The impossible had become contagious. Before dawn one morning, Ayren arrived early. He placed his palms on the stone, closed his eyes, breathed deeply, and pushed, not with muscle, not with desperation, with faith. And this time, the boulder slid a few inches, then more, then more. When the sun rose, the villagers saw the passage was opening. Ayren's mother wept with joy, the valley cheered, and after decades of silence, the mountain spoke. One thought can rewrite fate. The impossible does not move because you are strong. It moves because you believe differently. It doesn't matter how huge the stone in your path seems. What matters is the faith inside you. When the mind changes, the world follows, always. If this story touched your heart, don't let it end here. Share it with someone who also needs to remember the power of believing. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and walk with me. Here, your wounds find meaning. Here, your faith finds rest. Here, God speaks in the silence. Leave a comment telling me what this story awakened in you. I read every word because your journey matters. And remember, when you change one thought, your whole life begins to move with you.